Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks for joining me today. As it's Monday, it's time for us to spend a little bit of quality time together, and I just thought we'd add a piece to our journal. Now we're actually going to make the piece today. I just feel like I need to make a certain piece of artwork to put in my journal to reflect sort of the mood of the nation, in fact the world. I mean, I've had such lovely messages from our friends in America, Australia, New Zealand, you know, over the sad death of our queen, saying that she was your queen as well, which is you know, totally right. And I do think as a crafting family, it is lovely that we can all help and support each other. And I just wanted to make I think, I was going to say a fitting piece. It's my way. In your journal, the pieces you create are all about you. And so this for me is just a piece I want to create that makes me think about how I'm feeling at the minute and reflect the sort of the poignancy of everything. And I'm starting off with a piece of multifarious card, and it measures 5 3/4 inches. And the reason it is I want to make myself a garland. I love making wreath cards, but I thought it was poignant, the flowers that were on our late Queen's coffin. They all had a meaning. There were flowers from her garden. There were, I mean, you know, look it up what they were, you know, the oak, pieces of oak leaf because of the tree to represent strength. And I do think that really touched me, you know, the meaning of flowers. And it's quite, one of the flowers that was her favourite was Lily of the Valley. Now, I'm born in May, and as far as I know, that's the my birth month flower. So, you know, I just thought for me, I was going to create just a piece that made me think of all those lovely floral tributes and that they mean so much. Now, the reason I've gone for that size is I want to back it on a piece of this beautiful card. So this is our premium quality card, and I've gone for the Majestics pack because I wanted this colour tone. I'm going to use purple as my theme because, again, I was struck the purple of the material inside her crown and of the cushions, and so that's just in my head. I'm going for sort of that sort of type of colour, and I'm thinking this is going to be fabulous to back it on. So that's why I've chosen that size, because this card is 6 by 6. Basically, that's what I'm getting round to saying. And that's the way I start my design. I mean, look, we've got the most fabulous colours here. But for me, this one was perfect for what I need, or what's in my head. So I'm going to start off, and I want to give myself, often with wreath cards or garland cards, a lot of crafters never know how to start. So I'm just coming in with an idea. It's a bit of a, you know me, I like my cheats. And I've taken my moon, the hill, the circle, hill, what am I talking about? The acetate circle masks. And I've gone for the larger one, and I'm just popping it in the middle, look. And I'm going to give two things with this. I want to create a bit of a, would help if I told you, I'm using violet chalk. You see, when I start in my journal, if I've got an idea, I want to get on with it, and I have to be mindful that I'm here with you and I need to slow down. Do you ever do that? Do you go in your craft room and you're excited about creating a piece, and you know, and you have to make yourself know, slow down, don't rush it. So this is going to give me a hue, but also it's going to give me an idea of where I'm going to stamp. So I'm just going to take some ink onto my mask first, and then just gentle flicks all the way around. Now, don't worry if you get a few lines, it's not a problem. Just work that ink in. And as I get less on my brush, I'm almost going to sort of do little circular motions, because I want quite an area, sort of quite a purple hue in the middle of my card. Now, you could stick this circle mask down, but I'm afraid you know me, I don't do things like that. just going to take it round. Right, now that's enough. So clean that circle mask and we'll get that back in its packet. File it on the floor. Sorry, excuse me. I do tend to file a lot of things on the floor at the minute. It's quite funny because Eric's in here as normal and he sort of gets surrounded by all my things. So that's the basis. And you see, what I'm thinking is, although that backing card was sort of a reddy purple, it actually goes well with that violet chalk. So I chose the right colour there, so I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to come in with quite a few of our pound stamps. Again, I've had a couple of messages about creating a card with pound stamps. So for those of you that asked, this is actually a great design for you. And I'm going to come in with some of our VersaFine Claire inks. And the first one is the Monarch. And the reason I'm coming in with that, because obviously that's a purple, and I'm thinking that'll really tie in well. And our first stamp I'm going to use, excuse me, is the leaf, and this is leaf number 5. And this is just to give me the beginning, the basis of. And the idea is I want some foliage in here. And I'm just going to stamp this randomly all the way around. But I'm going to leave some gaps and I'm going to change direction as I go. I don't want it all I want this to be a lovely sort of natural, although it's probably evenly spaced, isn't it? But never mind. So that's just giving me the basis of my design. And then next I'm going to come in with, I've gone for some random ones because I loved that eclectic mix in that floral tribute. So I've gone for this mini blackberry. And this is almost in my head, it's sort of just representing fruits. But again, you can choose, we've got so many fabulous pound stamps, you can choose the ones that represent what you want to represent. Now, as I say, this design would be fabulous. You could turn it into a Christmas design, an autumn design, just by varying your colours, your stamp choice. I was mindful there, I didn't want to make it symmetrical and actually have my berry on the same side of that leaf on every single occasion. So I've got 3, I'm going to add another 2. So let me think, let's put one here. And then one more. But I'm thinking I'm going to put it here. So there's 2 close there. Because like I say, I don't want it. The one thing you have to be careful of is it can be so easy to go round and make it very symmetrical. And I did that one in black. Now another one I'd like to use is this little pine cone. And again, for me, this is very natural, very organic. So that's where the pine cone's coming in. And it reminded me of the oak tree. So I'm thinking we're going to have, I just want 3 of these. I don't want to put the same number of each little stamp I'm using, because again, that would just be far too symmetrical. So I'm going to have one there. It's almost overthinking the not overthinking. And one there. And that colour was actually pine cone. Well, if you're going to stamp a pine cone, you need to use pine cone ink, don't you? So as you can see, it's building up, and I'm not worried about the actual shape because I'm going to add other bits. And I'm going to come in now with, and you can get hold of it, the Sycamore. Now, this is a fabulous stamp. And I've got to be honest, if you haven't got this, honestly, next time you put an order in, it's got so many uses, this, and it's one of those stamps that I don't see used very much, but honestly, it's brilliant. It's got a long, if I just stamp it on here, look, Can you see? It's got a long, now that to me could even be almost like mistletoe hanging down for your Christmas cards. If you put some white gems or white liquid pearls on there, how lovely would that be? Now you can use it as a flying little leaf. You know how they come down? We used to call them helicopters. Or for me, when I ink it up, I want to be mindful. I don't actually want this long stem. So I'm just going to get rid of that. And I'm just going to use this to add a little bit of extra shape. But also I want some colour. I just want to bring a bit of almost foliage, a bit of green into this design. And I'm just going to turn as we go. And I find a little tip, because I want to leave the stem off, if I ink up in the corner, look, I get away with not inking up that stem. So I don't need to then come in and mask it off. Might actually, so in the corner, put 2 here. And again, I'm just going to work my way around and add this. And I want a bit of that. It is a garland after all, so we want to bring some green in, some foliage. And you're almost roughly keeping that shape. As you're going round, you just look. And also make sure you keep turning the design. And remember, if you want it to look like it's behind, you've got your second generation. Another one there, but I think I could just do a second generation one there. You see how that looks nice, just bringing in that second generation. And we're keeping that design. Right, I'm happy with that. I'm just being mindful to clean every stamp and put it back on its acetate, so I keep them all together. Now, the next one, and this is my fillering. So now you might be looking at this now and saying to me, Jo, you've got gaps. Don't like that. Well, this is where the mini leaf creeper comes in. And this is a brilliant fillering stamp. And we're going to do this in 2 colours. We're going to come in with the Monarch first and then the black, the Nocturne. And that will just give us a little bit of depth to the design. And again, we've got a bit of a stem here, a bit of a stalk. Ink it up in the corner if you want to avoid stamping that. But I can now look here and decide where I want. And again, I'll just move my work. And you've got your first and your second generation. And just go round. I tend to concentrate on the middle first. Bit of second generation there. And I'll go round just adding to keep that shape. Then I'm going to go around and look at the edge bits and just decide where I need. So let me think. Here. And then second generation there. Work my way around. And just add. And if you've got a bit where you think that's not coming out far enough, that will just help to extend the design and add that shape. So just one couple more there. And then I want to come in with the black. Just to bring, now at this point I'm going to decide, I think, do I like it that way? So if I come in with the black, I only want a few, but you'll see how the black stamping will pop to the front. Just going to change that shape. I like that there. See, again, I think I need one there to keep that shape. And just work your way around. Little one there. Here, look. Just think it needs. And you'll see how you're getting that beautiful shape. Maybe just a little bit there. and then a bit of second and third generation. But actually, I'm happy with that. I don't want to do any more there. I think it would spoil it. But this little, if I just stamp it again on here, look. And I know mini leaf creeper, it looks nothing, but it will, you could actually make, do you know what? You could actually make, if you went round first and second generation, look, I reckon, obviously I'm not, you could make a whole garland out of that, you know. I think that would be beautiful, wouldn't it? Let's just, I mean, obviously I'm very quickly, but I reckon you could. I digress as always. But very, very, you know what, I mean, for £1, I do love the pound range. So what I want to bring in now is two things. I want to bring my crown in, because this wouldn't be a piece for how I feel at the minute without the crown. And I'm just going to stamp it. Let's check I've got enough ink, and it's trying to get it straight. And I'm going to come in and put it here. So sorry if my head came over. I sort of want it in the centre but slightly offset, because I want to come in. I've got the little lamp, and I'm thinking I can hang the lamp from here, look, and that will just shine onto the crown. Again, the shining light, as the Queen was to so many of us. So again, you know, you've got meaning with all these lovely stamps. And I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to give that a blot. Give it another. And then we'll add a little bit of colour. I don't want to add too much colour, because I want this to actually sort of, you know, talk for itself, to be a statement. So I'm just going to use my watercolour pencils. And I'm sure a lot of you, I mean, so many of you messaged me saying that you were watching all the events on television. And again, I do think it's something that we could share together. And I just felt I wanted to create this piece. Now, I'm using watercolour pencil, so again, I'm not worried about that blend there once I add the water. And I want to come in on the crown and add some yellow here, but just bring in a little bit of orange at the sides. And then some red here. But my main colour, as I say, I was really struck of that purple. I mean, it looked like velvet. I'm not sure what it was. I'm sure there are crafters out there that know. So I'm just going to add that purple there, because in my head, I was just so struck by that. And I'm just going to bring my water brush, which is in my pot. Now again, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. A couple of ladies have mentioned I leave my paintbrushes in my water pot all day, but I never have the water above the metal bit here, because if you leave that wooden bit in too long, it can crack. So it's always worth me, because if we've got new crafters watching, but I have my fan brush in this lovely fine #1, which is my favourite, and they're in my water pot first thing in the morning. But my water pot, I don't fill it above that metal bit. So with the purple, I'm going to come in and just colour my blackberries, just to give them a bit of extra depth, and to give that lovely, I really want that purple to sort of be shining through. And again, I'm not being very careful. Then I'm going to come in with a brown and just go over these lovely fir cones. Again, just to give them a bit more depth. And these watercolour pencils are so brilliant to use, and I think you get such lovely effects. Now again, you can spend longer doing this. To be honest, if I did it the way I would do it, we'd be here sort of an hour, and really I think some of you may, I mean, some of you might like it, but I think some of you'd be saying to me, oh Jo, that is just far too long. So I do try and just, you know, give you the quick, but these watercolour pencils, you can use them very quickly. I mean, look at that. And for me, this is exactly, oh, I've got a bit there, that's gone now. This is exactly how I was hoping it would look. Now I'm just going to come in with my white gel pen, if I can find it, and just add a couple of little highlights, not too many. I don't want to overcook it, but just to add a little bit more, just a few. Couple on here. And as I say, you can use, if you've got special stamps that, you know, mean something to you. I just think for me this is a lovely, lovely mix. Now what I have done is I've already stamped myself a verse. And look, I've got my arrow on the back of my stamp, and this is Shaylee's spell, and I'll read it to you. And I just thought that this for me needs to go in my journal, and it actually says, when all the world's against you and wishing seems in vain, Shaylee rescues you with magic and gives you hope again. Lifting heavy hearts with lightness, she whispers, all is well. Feel Shaylee's tiny hand in yours as she casps her helpful spell. Now, how lovely is that? That's quite emotional actually reading that. And I just thought for me that really summed up how sort of I felt at the minute. I mean, it brought all back after losing my dad this year. And I do think for me, I really wanted to put that in my journal. So what I'm going to do while I compose myself is I'm just going to use some tape and some glue on here. I'm going to add a little bit of stencil work, but I'm actually just distracting myself with some matting and layering first. And I'll put some on the back of here. And yes, for those of you that ask, I've belt and braces. I'm going to use my bittity boppity glue as well, but I'm just somebody who I like to use the tape as well. And it's just, for me, belt and braces, that I don't like to add too much wet glue to my journal, although obviously these pages will take it really well, but it is something you need to think about. So I like to do the double whammy of the tape and the glue. But I'm just thinking of adding a little bit of stencil work behind this. But I'm not going to overcook this page. And again, I just use my finger to spread that glue out. And then I've got a bit of wiggle time here. There we go. Turn that round. So if I bring my journal in, just going to give myself some space, and I'm hoping you can see. I'm going to pop that here, but with this stencil Replenish, I just thought I'd put a little bit of these gorgeous hearts floating off, and again for me it just fits with the whole design. So before I attach it, I'm going to come in and keep it all the same colour tone. So with my violet chalk, and I just want, let me see, and again, you know, move your stencil round till you get it. There we go, I'm happy with that. And again, I want it deeper in the corner, but almost fading up. If I put that there, just, I think that's enough. We'll just add a little bit up here. Like I say, I don't want the stencil work to be too taking over. I just want it to be quite subtle in the background. I want my piece to really speak for itself. So I'm happy with that. And this is the bit where, bear with me please, I never have enough room. And then for my other side, I'm going to put my beautiful verse here. So I think I'll put my stencil work in the opposite corners. So again, I'll start in the bottom corner. And I'm actually going to come quite along this bottom corner and up the side. A little bit more heavy with the stencil work on this side. I have to move that ink pad out of the way. Oh, look at that. Right, ladies. So don't worry about that. We have a plan. I bet that's happened to you, hasn't it? So let's bring right, so obviously I just, let me move that out of the way. I just dropped my ink pad there. So what I'm going to do is make it part of my design, and I'm actually going to come in and just drag the ink pad across the top and just do a couple of down. And then I'm going to do it the same on this side. Just lift the page up and just drag the ink pad down. Put the lid on, and then to soften it a little, I'll just come in with my brush and I just want that to look, and we'll just add a little bit of water to just drip it down. And I'm just going to make it look like, do you know what, that was the plan all along, and that was what we were adding. Because we have those happy accidents, don't we? That actually tones in really well with the backing. So these things happen. You know, one of the ladies, and again, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, in our Lavinia group, put a picture of a card she'd done the other day and she dropped her ink pad. You know, it happens to all of us. So just before I glue that down, I want to make a little addition, and I actually want to add a couple of stamps to my design, postage stamps, because I just feel that for me this is a mark and it's something almost organic that I can add. And so I'm just going to add that one there, because obviously these will change eventually, won't they? We won't have these because we'll have our king's head on the new ones. And I'm just going to go on opposite corners and just tuck them under before I pop that down. And that's just going to be my little touch. And then we'll come in this side. And as I say, this design, you know, please don't feel you have to do this design. If it gives you inspiration and you mix it up a little, that's fine. I just felt it was something for me I had to make. And I just thought you might like to join in with me. So pop this here. And the last thing is I'm just going to add a little bit of glitter because obviously that crown did sparkle. So I'll come in, and again, remember, our Mr. Stickles is a bit rude. So we pop him on the mat. That rude, that one doesn't even want to work. It's a good job I've got to... Oh, did you hear that? He was rude. And all I'm going to do is just, again, with an empty water brush, just add a little bit of glitter. And again, I'm just painting this on because I just want it randomly in my lovely garland, and a little bit on the crown because my did that crown glitter. Now you could add your gilding flakes if you want, but I'm just going for glitter with this one. And I'm going to stop there because I don't want to overcook it. I wanted this to be more about the process and about really enjoying spending time, and this will just remind me of the events of the last couple of weeks. So we have the lovely verse on that side, and there we have our beautiful garland. And I'm not going to add any more. This is just simplicity in itself. I'll probably add the date here, but that'll be it. But like I say, so much inspiration there, hopefully. You could batch card make these. And for those of you that struggle starting off with your garland or your wreath cards, hopefully that will give you a little extra way of creating them. So thank you so much for joining me again. It's lovely spending Mondays with you. And pop back tomorrow. Technique Tuesday tomorrow. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.